Hello and welcome to this webinar on the Queensland Kindergarten Funding Essentials. I'm very proud to be hosting this presentation on Meanjin country here in Brisbane. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of these lands, the Turrbal and Yagara peoples. I would also like to recognise and acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands where you are today, and any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples viewing this session. I pay my respects to elders past and present and thank them for their guidance and wisdom as we celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and their cultures across this beautiful state of Queensland. Whether you're offering free kindy for the first time or updating your knowledge on the recent changes, this session will help you make the most of the available funding and resources. You will get an overview of key elements within the 2025 Kindy Funding Essentials, including the free kindy funding model, eligibility criteria, and entitlements. For more detailed information, please see the Funding Essentials available on the Early Childhood website. Queensland Kindy Funding supports families to access quality early childhood education in the year before their child starts school. Kindy has been free for eligible children since the beginning of 2024, and we are delighted to report that over 62,000 children across the state accessed free kindy last year. We know that these early years are a critical time in a child's development, which is why the government has made a significant financial investment to make kindy free for all eligible children in Queensland. To ensure no child misses out, free kindy can be accessed from either a sessional kindergarten or long daycare service. It is available for at least 15 hours a week for 40 weeks a year. The Kindy Funding Essentials are an important part of the service agreement between the Queensland Government and approved providers, as they provide a framework for the department to assess and pay claims. To qualify for kindy funding, services must meet criteria to ensure the delivery of high-quality early childhood education programs. Providers must have current service approval under the Education and Care Services National Law, have a rating of working towards the National Quality Standard or higher, and deliver an approved kindergarten program. Services have flexibility in the delivery of the kindergarten model, as long as it aligns with the Preschool Reform Agreement and is delivered for at least 15 hours per week over 40 weeks or 600 hours per year. The kindy program must also be delivered by a fully qualified early childhood teacher. Importantly, opted-in services must ensure their fees remain below the department's funding threshold. To be eligible for kindergarten funding, a service must have approved kindergarten program provider status. Another condition of funding is that the kindergarten program is delivered by a qualified early childhood teacher. To maintain approved kindergarten program provider status without an appropriately qualified early childhood teacher, services need to provide evidence they are actively recruiting for an early childhood teacher. This is important because services will not be eligible to use the kindy tick or be included on the free kindy finder until they can meet the funding eligibility requirements. We know that sometimes there are exceptional circumstances and will work with services to address workforce challenges. For example, When an educator is actively working towards completing an approved early childhood teacher qualification and is delivering the kindergarten program, the provider may be able to claim funding. However, the educator must have commenced study and made progress towards completing the course. This includes meeting all the requirements to maintain the enrolment. Where a long daycare services loses their early childhood teacher and does not have any educators eligible for an exceptional circumstance, the service must notify the department within 10 business days from the date the early childhood teacher last delivered the kindergarten program. Long daycare services can now apply for a consecutive 60-day grace period following the loss of an early childhood teacher, if they do not have any educators eligible for exceptional circumstances. Services must also submit a workforce plan to the department so they can continue to receive free kindy funding while recruiting a new teacher. Services need to have a clear enrolment policy that states children must be at least 4 years of age by 30 June in the year before they start prep. Eligible aged children are entitled to access free kindy for one program of 15 hours per week or 30 hours per fortnight for 40 weeks or 600 hours per year. Eligible aged children enrolled in a second program are ineligible for free kindy in the second program. Children who are 3 years old are not eligible for free kindy. Delayed exit is a decision which should be made by parents or carers and the service provider. Parents and carers are encouraged to meet with their child's early childhood teacher and other relevant professionals to discuss any concerns about their child's readiness to start school. These discussions will ensure the best outcomes for the child. The department provides kindy funding for a maximum of 2 years, which includes delayed exit. This helps ensure that every eligible child can access free kindy no matter their circumstances. It is important to note that if a child reaches 6 years and 6 months of age by June 30, they are ineligible for funding, even if it is their first year in kindergarten. A child receiving a second year of funding must be flagged as repeating in the service's childcare management system. By following these guidelines, we can work together to support children's readiness for school. Parents or carers must provide visa information at enrolment. For children who are not Australian citizens or permanent residents, eligibility depends on their visa subclass. Children on substantive visas that are exempt from state school fees are eligible for free kindy. If a family holds a bridging visa, eligibility depends on the substantive visa it bridges. There are a few different types of visas, so it can get a little confusing. This is an extract of the schedule of visa subclasses. The link to this is in the appendix of the Funding Essentials, along with a list of eligible visa holders under the Australian Government Refugee and Humanitarian Program. Simply put, if there is a yes in the fee exempt column, it means a family is eligible for free kindy, providing they meet all other eligibility criteria. Services need to have a clear policy or procedure for the management of illness, holidays, and long-term absences for eligible children. This will help families understand what is required of them so that attendance can be managed effectively. If a family asks that their child returns to kindergarten after starting prep, the service needs to seek guidance first from the approved provider. This consultation is crucial to align decisions with free kindy guidelines and ensure the child's needs are supported. The Free Kindy program is supported by workforce initiatives to strengthen service delivery and promote a professional career in the sector. These initiatives focus on attracting, retaining, and upskilling early childhood teachers and educators. They include financial incentives such as scholarships with wraparound supports and access to early childhood professionals, practicum placement subsidies, professional development to meet qualification requirements, and career pathways into the sector. Please check out further details in the Kindy Funding Essentials if you are looking for strategies to build a sustainable and skilled workforce. Kindy funding is provided to services through one or more subsidies. The base subsidy supports access to an approved kindergarten program. Long daycare services must use 80% or more of the base subsidy to provide improved entitlements for the early childhood teacher and up to 2 diploma qualified educators delivering the kindy program. Kindergarten subsidies, including the base subsidy, cannot be used by long daycare services for payment of childcare management company fees. Detailed spending rules and financial obligations are listed in the Kindy Funding Essentials. Free Kindy funding, or the GAP fee subsidy, is provided for each eligible child enrolled in an approved kindergarten program and covers the parent fee component of the kindergarten program. In a long daycare setting, the GAP fee subsidy is paid after the childcare subsidy, on top of other subsidies to make kindergarten free for eligible children. The Service Location Subsidy supports early childhood teacher attraction and retention for services in remote or disadvantaged areas. Service Location Subsidy is provided to services in outer regional, remote, or very remote locations. Kindy Uplift is provided to respond to educational outcomes for each child using evidence-based data. The Inclusion Ready subsidy helps services improve their inclusive practices so that children of all identities and abilities can attend kindy. For best practice, activities should be undertaken in consultation with families. The Inclusion Support Program remains unchanged. The per capita kindergarten subsidy applies to services that have not opted into free kindy. These services will not be able to access any other subsidies offered under free kindy. Kindy Uplift funding is designed to build teacher and educator capability to improve the outcomes of children in kindergarten. Services can use Kindy Uplift to fund programs, resources, support, and professional development relating to capability improvement. Kindy Uplift is offered on an annual basis. The cut-off date for new services eligible for the following year's Kindy Uplift program is 30 November and coincides with the release of the Kindy Uplift Plan. Kindy Uplift plans need to be submitted to the department on or before 28 February. Services should collect relevant data and priorities embedding Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives. This helps with decision-making to identify the best opportunities to lift learning and development outcomes for children. For long daycare services, where a change of ownership occurs during the kindergarten program year, it is expected that the plan and any unspent funds are transferred to the new owner of the service. Approved kindergarten providers whose fees exceed the department's funding threshold or who have opted out of free kindy will be eligible for the per capita kindergarten subsidy. This applies even if fees increase above the threshold after opting in. Services receiving the per capita subsidy must use all of the funding to reduce out-of-pocket fees for families. They are not eligible to receive other kindergarten subsidies or access other supports such as Kindy Uplift. Importantly, the subsidy does not cover entitlements for early childhood teachers or funding for age-appropriate resources. That brings us to the end of this webinar. I encourage you to refer to the Early Childhood website for more information which can be found in the Kindy Funding Essentials and other resources available online. Please share your experiences or email any questions you have to the Kindy Funding mailbox at kindyfunding@qed.qld.gov.au. Alternatively, feel free to ring the Kindy hotline on 07 30 35 2244. It's available Monday to Friday during business hours and provides assistance and information about delivering an approved kindergarten program. Your feedback is important and will help the department to identify opportunities to further enhance the delivery of free kindy across Queensland. The department will continue to develop supplementary resources to share information and practical tools to help services navigate free kindy and ensure its continued success. So please reach out to let us know what additional resources would be helpful for you. Thank you for viewing this webinar. I hope you found the content informative and that it supports you in continuing to deliver high quality early childhood education and care in Queensland.